Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm Gebo the Shaman, and today we're going to be talking about Sun in the sign of Sagittarius in your chart. So what does it mean when we have Sun in the sign of Sagittarius? But before we get into that, I'll just tell you guys about my, we have a 30% off special going on here at vincent.thunderwizard.com. You can go there if you want an astrology reading. I have a lot of information posted on what's included in that and what you get out of it. So go check that out if you're interested. Also, I have my courses available. I have this course right here that's called the Self-Transformation Challenge. It's basically a combination of Kundalini Yoga, Qigong, and meditations that really help you to evolve spiritually and activate your energy body, activate your light body, cause a Kundalini awakening, things like that. It's really cool stuff. So check that out if you're interested. Also, I have the same course here available at gebotheshaman.gumroad.com, and that other one is patreon.com/gebotheshaman. And I also am I have the meditation available here, just a standalone meditation that will really help you connect with your soul, and it will help you get in touch with your own spiritual path. So I'm going to be uploading some meditations as well, or some mantra meditations. That'll be over here at gebotheshaman.gumroad.com. And so I just I'm working on some different courses for you guys. I'm actually working on an astrology course for you guys, so you can learn astrology, and it's really easy and fun for beginners and easy to get into. So that'll be coming out pretty soon, actually. And I'm also working on another Qigong course, that's meant for beginners, and it's really good entry-level stuff, and that'll be available here, both here and up here. I also have life coaching services available too, so check that out. All right, the life coaching stuff is available here. So so let's talk about Sun in the sign of Sagittarius and what that means. So Sun in the sign of Sagittarius. Well, first of all, in order to understand this position, we need to learn what the Sun is all about. So the Sun is the ego, it's the soul, it also represents your father, your relationship with your father, represents the government, it represents your relationship with the government and authority, and it also represents your health and your career. So there's a lot of significations that the Sun represents. So when it's placed in the sign of Sagittarius, well, what is the sign of Sagittarius? The sign of Sagittarius it's religion, it's higher education, it's philosophy, spirituality, international travel. It's things like gurus, teachers, all that. Things like higher learning, so you get a doctorate degree, PhD, things like that. It's that stuff. It's like really diving into philosophy and creating your own philosophy and things like that. So it's a really cool, really great sign for the sun to be in. This means that you will be very philosophical and the sun also has to do with self-expression too. So someone with this placement could be easily like a preacher or a spiritual teacher or something like that. So with this placement, the ego, how the ego would interact here, you could get to a place where you're not teaching spirituality. Your ego could get involved. You could be all about, what about like your ego could get wrapped up in being a highly educated and or highly spiritual or highly religious person, when that's not what matters at all. The ego likes to attach to things, and the ego likes to puff itself up and kind of say I am this and blah blah blah. But yeah, it's basically the ego is kind of stimulated to be spiritual, to be this highly educated intellectual philosopher guy or girl. Yeah, it's just that, like, the ego gets stimulated by spirituality, religion, philosophy, things like that. So yeah, it's very interesting placement here. The soul, the sun also represents the soul. So give me a sec. So the way the soul would want to operate here is basically, it really wants to learn all about philosophy, religion, and things like that. Things that I mentioned earlier. The soul is, it almost like wants to come here to kind of express itself and to almost like it's almost like a teacher, like it could want to teach religion, teach philosophy, teach higher education, even like be a college professor or something like that. So the soul wants to learn lessons around religion, spirituality, higher education, and like things like that. So yeah, it's here to learn and to absorb all that stuff and to really get into it and learn a lot about it. One thing that's important to notice, to examine, is the placement of the dispositor, which would be Jupiter. So we know that you have, if you're watching this video, I'm assuming that you have Sun in Sagittarius. So you need to look at the placement of Jupiter in your chart. Where's that sitting? Is Jupiter exalted in Cancer, or is it debilitated? Is it in a good sign or a bad sign? You really need to examine that, because that'll give you a detail. That'll give you an idea about how the sun is going to interact here. So, for example, if the sun is exalted in Cancer, then you're going to be very balanced in religion and spirituality. But if it's like in Scorpio or something like that, you're going to want to delve into like the occult sciences and astrology and and things like that, and like dig into the depths and stuff. All right, so another thing with this placement is we got to look at the relationship with the father. So where the sign that the sun is placed in, wherever it's placed, it represents the relationship with the father and can give an indication of the father. So, yeah, the father, your relationship with your father would probably be very, very philosophical, very, your father would be the kind of person who would want to make sure that you're going to church, making sure that you get your higher education. Your father was very philosophical in his parenting approach with you. Things like that. So yeah, it could also mean that your father was like some kind of a teacher, maybe a college professor, something like that. You would have to again look at where Jupiter is placed for that. But yeah, it gives a very philosophical, very higher-minded relationship with the father. So your father could have really taught you a lot of lessons, life lessons, and things like that. And so, yeah, it's it's pretty cool. So, yeah. This also represents like your relationship with government and authority. So, and it also represents your career. So you could be a philosopher, a scientist with this position, like understanding how things work, kind of like almost like an engineer almost. But yeah, I would say it's more involved in like the humanities, like almost like philosophy, religion. You could be a psychologist with this placement. Things like that. Yeah, it's very, into like human sciences and stuff. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but like religion, spirituality, philosophy, things like that. Those are all, things that revolve around human like interpersonal kind of stuff. Anyway, yeah, you could do psychology, things like that, because, well, what is psychology? It's just like a philosophy of human behavior. It's just like learning about human behavior and developing and like putting up a philosophy around that. So, I mean, yeah, it's could be also, it has to do with your health. So, that's actually a good sign for your health that it's placed here, because Jupiter, it's ruled by Jupiter, so it's wanting to really expand you and keep you healthy and stuff like that. So yeah, I would say maybe looking into, I don't know, I was gonna say things like functional medicine, where there's actually a philosophy behind, the holistic integration of your health, rather than just, going to the doctor and popping a pill, that kind of stuff. Yeah, it represents your career, so I think we talked about that a little bit. So yeah, let me see how we are in time. We're good. Alrighty guys, well, I hope you enjoyed this video, so if you wouldn't mind, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, hit the bell notification button, go check out my courses on gebottheshaman.gumroad.com, check out my astrology readings at vincent.thunderwizard.com, they are 30% off now, and go check out my Patreon at patreon.com/gebotheshaman. Yeah guys, hope you enjoyed this video and leave a like and all that good stuff. So thanks, we'll talk to you later. Talk to you next time.